My name is Rob Prellwitz. I'm a recent graduate of devCodeCamp's full stack development program. And today I'm going to show you my capstone project. This capstone project was something we had only a couple weeks to work on in the context of identifying what we wanted to do, designing it, and building it to work. And in my case, I dove into my background as my source of interest and desire for building my project. I have an undergraduate degree in finance and spent 20 years as a trader for two different hedge funds, and have recently decided to kind of make a career change. And so I'm been focusing on the computer science aspects and learning to code. And so the background of my project is that over the last year and a half or so, we've seen just an explosive growth in retail investment accounts and individual investors trading. And part of that growth has been an even bigger percentage growth in the number of individual investors using options to do some of their investing activity. And I myself, having been a trader for a hedge fund for many years, have been very frustrated with the tools available from the normal retail brokers to manage those types of investments. And we've seen one really sad case in Illinois where a young man who had an option position on that he didn't totally understand, and that the retail broker's way of presenting the information, he believed he had put himself in a position where he owed a significant sum of money and was going to put his family into bankruptcy and committed suicide. So I started thinking about how to develop a tool that would be useful for the individual investor and help them be able to understand better the exposures they actually have on when they have an option trade or an option position on. And so that's where I started with my situation. The technologies I used to build this project were Python and Flask for my basic core of the application. In the devCodeCamp process, we spent 12 weeks learning a lot of different things. The Python aspect of it was less than 2 weeks towards the end of the program, but I found Python really compelling, and I know that in the finance world it's become very popular, so it seemed like a good technology for me to focus on. And additionally, use an SQLite database for user profile information, and I have a couple packages that are available for Python that I use to deal with some of the market data concepts, because just dealing with those individually would have been well more than the scope of a two-week process. I use Wall Street and a package called Wall Street, and then I also use the Pandas data frames package for most of the data manipulation that I do throughout the course of the project. All of the option calculations that I do in the project are done using the most basic Black-Scholes option pricing model. This was the easiest to implement in the short period of time that I had. And so now I'd like to show you the finished result. And here's the main landing page of my program. And as a new person looking at this, looks kind of intriguing. So I want to go look at what the sample view looks like. And this is the sample page with a little mock portfolio. And this is interesting. There's data in here that I don't normally see in my normal retail brokerage account. So I'm pretty intrigued by this. I think I'm going to register for the program and see what else is available. Awesome. There, we registered for the account. That's fantastic. And I see I got a mail message on this and I need to confirm my account. So I'm going to do that momentarily. And excellent. We've confirmed our account. So I'm going to go check out the member page now. All right. So here it shows that a couple interesting things. If I want to upload a portfolio using a CSV file, I can create one and do it myself, or E-Trade has the option that I can use their CSV file and upload it. And I happen to have an E-Trade account, so I'm going to do that right now. Excellent. My portfolio is uploaded. Now I'm going to take a look at it. Awesome. And there's the portfolio I uploaded. That's fantastic. I see the positions I have and the exposures. That's great. So I want to look at one of these maybe in a little bit more depth. So let's look at this FSR position first. All right, so here I can see the basics of this position. We have a long equity position, short, a couple 35 strike calls in March, and then long some 25 strike calls in March, and short some 30 strike calls. So there's a lot going on here. And we have overall exposure that's over 900 shares long when we combine all these together. That's great to see. And this piece of the program shows the exposure of my position based on some changes in the stock price. So I see as the stock price goes up, I actually get a little bit less long. That's through those short calls, so it kind of naturally decreases my exposure. And as the stock goes lower, you see I get a little bit more long. So that's the way I want to be positioned. That's great. And this part shows the impact of volatility on the value of my portfolio. And you can see volatility on this name has been very high. As it goes higher, I actually lose some money here, so that's good to know. And as it goes lower, I actually make a little bit of money with nothing else happening. So that's all really good and interesting news. I wanted to note, I was looking at there's another position I want to look at. It's the QQQ position. This is more of a hedge group within this portfolio. I want to see what's going on there. So as we look at this position, there's no actual equity piece. You see there's no quantity there. And there's a couple option positions. This one's showing me to have a little bit more long exposure than I really was hoping for. So I'm gonna add a change in the equity position here and hedge that out. What was that total risk? 632 shares. So I'm gonna short 750 shares. See what that does to my overall exposures. Excellent. Now we can see that we've made some changes here. My actual exposure is now somewhat short in this position. And I can see that dynamic changes pretty dramatically here. As the stock goes up, I get quite a bit longer, but as it goes lower, I get pretty short. So that's what I want to see there. This is pretty intriguing information here. This one has a pretty big impact on volatility, so I'm somewhat susceptible to vol swings here. If we get a decrease in vol, this piece of the portfolio would go down a lot. And now I'm going to head back to the main portfolio page just to see if there's anything else I want to take a look at quick. All right, well, looking at this, there's one more thing I think I'd like to do. I think I'd like to add a short option position against that long target stock. So I'm going to do that here. And excellent, we see that that's been added. It adds a little bit of short exposure to my position, but I still have overall long exposure. And obviously we can see the same calculations we saw in the other pieces show up here as well. And then let's just we'll flow back to the portfolio one more time. We can see that these things have been added to the overall portfolio as well. So we can see that target call is added here, and the short QQQ position has been added here. So we've got all these exposures coming in. This is exactly what I would want to see as an individual investor. All right, well, that's it for the presentation of what I was able to accomplish during this short 2-week window that we had to work on this capstone project. I want to say this course has been an amazing learning experience. I wouldn't really have dreamed at the start of it that I would be able to take a programming language like Python that I had spent less than 2 weeks working with and delve into and develop something of this magnitude under such a short period of time. I learned a ton in the program, and probably most importantly in this project. It's an exciting area to be involved in, and I really had a great time learning all this, and I look forward to being able to continue to learn as we go forward into the future. Thanks for your time today. I appreciate you